Operation Neptune Spear, Osama bin Laden. American Special Services searched for Osama bin Laden for almost 10 years. After the September 11 attacks, he became the most wanted figure in the world. By 2011, the CIA had tracked down a courier who led them to a secluded house in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The house was unusual. High walls, no internet or telephone connection, and garbage was burned right in the yard. At night, American helicopters carrying SEAL Team 6 commandos crossed the Pakistani border without notifying the authorities. The operation took place deep inside a foreign country, near a Pakistani military academy. During landing, one of the helicopters lost control and made an emergency landing in the courtyard of the complex. Despite this, the operation was not stopped. The special forces entered the building and began clearing it floor by floor. The resistance was short and chaotic. On the top floor, Osama bin Laden was found and eliminated. The operation took about 40 minutes. The American military did not lose a single soldier. Bin Laden's body was removed, and the damaged helicopter was destroyed on the spot. Operation to capture Nicolas Maduro, January 3, 2026, Caracas, Venezuela. U.S. forces launched a large-scale operation aimed at capturing President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The operation was carried out by special forces supported by air and ground forces. The U.S. conducted reconnaissance and planning since December 2025. The operation involved dozens of aircraft, helicopters, and drones for cover, reconnaissance, and air defense suppression. Course of the operation. During the night, the Air Force struck defensive targets around Caracas. Special forces infiltrated the capital, advancing along key streets and avoiding prolonged fighting. Regime forces suffered losses among military personnel and Maduro's supporters. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were found and captured. They were taken to the U.S., where on January 5th they appeared in federal court on drug trafficking charges. Maduro stated that he considered himself kidnapped and retained his right to the presidency. Leadership of Venezuela passed to Vice President Delcy Rodriguez in accordance with the Constitution. U.S. casualties. 7 American soldiers from Special Forces units, including Delta Force, were wounded, most of whom returned to duty. Casualties total. According to the U.S. government, approximately 75 people were killed, among Venezuelan and Cuban security forces, as well as civilians. Venezuelan authorities claimed 100 dead. Operation Just Cause, the capture of Manuel Noriega. In the late 1980s, General Manuel Noriega effectively ruled Panama. He collaborated with drug cartels and at the same time worked with American intelligence services for many years. When Noriega became inconvenient, the U.S. decided on a military operation. In December 1989, American troops launched a swift invasion of Panama. Key targets, airports, headquarters, and military bases were seized almost simultaneously. The country's administration was paralyzed within hours. Noriega himself tried to hide and took refuge in the Vatican embassy. Storming the building could have caused an international scandal, so the U.S. chose a different method. Loud music was played around the embassy 24 hours a day, depriving him of sleep and peace. After a few days, Noriega surrendered without a fight. He was arrested, taken to the U.S., and brought to trial. This is one of the few cases where a sitting head of state was effectively captured by the American military. Operation Red Dawn, the capture of Saddam Hussein. After the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, Saddam Hussein's regime collapsed in just a few weeks. Baghdad fell, the army was defeated, and Saddam himself disappeared. For several months he was in hiding, constantly changing his hiding places. He no longer issued orders, did not control the troops, and had effectively lost power. The former dictator had become a fugitive, dependent on a small circle of supporters. American intelligence gradually tracked him down. Interrogations of detained associates and informants from local tribes played a key role. Ultimately, they managed to narrow the search to an area near Saddam's hometown of Tikrit. The operation was codenamed Red Dawn. On December 13, 2003, U.S. Special Forces surrounded several buildings in the village of Al-Dawr. During the search, the soldiers noticed a strange hatch, disguised with earth and debris. Beneath it was a narrow underground shelter, a so-called spider hole. Inside was Saddam Hussein himself. He was there alone, without guards. A pistol and a large sum of money were found on him, but he offered no resistance. According to the soldiers, he looked emaciated, with a long beard, very different from his usual image. Saddam was pulled out of the hiding place, examined, his identity confirmed, and he was immediately detained. The entire operation took only a few minutes. Thus ended the story of one of the most wanted men of the early 21st century, not in a palace or on the battlefield, but in a cramped hole in the middle of an Iraqi village. Operation Gothic Serpent, Somalia. In 1993, the United States conducted a military operation in Somalia as part of a UN mission. The country was engulfed in civil war, and power was effectively in the hands of warlords. The main target of the Americans was one of the most influential leaders, Mohammed Farah Aidid, who controlled a significant part of Mogadishu. His militants had already attacked UN peacekeepers and killed dozens of soldiers. Operation Gothic Serpent was conceived as a quick and targeted raid. The goal was not to capture the city or eliminate Aidid, but to arrest his closest associates in order to weaken his influence. On October 3, 1993, American Special Forces, Delta Force, and Rangers landed right in the center of Mogadishu. The operation was supposed to take no more than an hour. The first minutes went strictly according to plan. The targets were located, and several key figures were detained. But then the situation changed dramatically. Somali militants opened heavy fire. Soon, 2 American Black Hawk helicopters were shot down by RPGs. One crashed in one part of the city, the other in another. This instantly turned the short raid into a protracted street battle in the middle of a hostile metropolis. American soldiers found themselves surrounded. Communications were disrupted, ammunition was running out, and evacuation was almost impossible. The fighting continued all night, with battles fought literally for every intersection. During an attempt to rescue the crew of the second helicopter, 2 Delta Force snipers, Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart, voluntarily landed on the ground, knowing that they had almost no chance of survival. They died defending the pilot. The helicopter pilot, Michael Durant, was wounded and taken prisoner. He was later released as a result of negotiations. The outcome of the battle was heavy for the U.S. 18 killed, 73 wounded, 1 pilot captured. Somali losses are estimated at 300 to over 1,000 people. The exact number is unknown. Aidid himself was not captured. After these events, public opinion in the U.S. changed dramatically. In 1994, American troops were withdrawn from Somalia. The operation itself became a symbol of how a short special operation can turn into a catastrophe in a matter of hours. This episode seriously influenced U.S. foreign policy. It made Washington much more cautious in Africa and became one of the reasons for the refusal to intervene militarily in Rwanda in 1994. Although today Gothic Serpent is considered one of the most difficult U.S. operations, initially it was just a plan for a quick arrest, not a full-scale war. Operation KAYLA Mueller, the elimination of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. In October 2019, the United States conducted one of the most important special operations in the war against ISIS, the elimination of its leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The operation was named KAYLA Mueller in memory of the American humanitarian worker who died in ISIS captivity. By that time, al-Baghdadi had been in hiding for a long time and rarely appeared in public. American intelligence had been gathering information about his whereabouts for several months. Eventually, it became known that he was hiding in northwestern Syria, in Idlib province. At night, American transport helicopters crossed the Syrian border and delivered Delta Force Special Forces soldiers directly to the target. Drones and attack aircraft also participated in the operation, providing air cover. After landing, the special forces surrounded the complex and attempted to force those inside to surrender. A firefight ensued. Some of the militants were eliminated on the spot. During the assault, al-Baghdadi realized there was no escape and tried to flee. He ran into an underground tunnel that was used as an escape route. American soldiers sent a service dog after him. Cornered, al-Baghdadi detonated an explosive device he was carrying. As a result of the explosion, he died along with 2 of his children who were nearby. After confirming the target's identity, the special forces collected all necessary materials, destroyed the building to prevent it from becoming a place of worship, and left the area. American forces suffered no casualties. The entire operation, from entering Syrian airspace to returning, took less than 2 hours. Later, the U.S. officially confirmed the elimination of al-Baghdadi, and his body was buried at sea according to military procedures.
Hurry up and play the next video to prevent the explosion.